Thank y'all so much for being here. My name is Yeiry Guevara. I am the Public Programs Manager here at the Museum of Fine Art. So thank y'all so much for attending our Writers Remix series happening tonight in this amazing space. I want to give a couple shout outs before we begin. I will also be your MC for tonight. Big thank you to Valeria, our production assistant. Then of course, amazing. Another round of applause for Joel as well, our AV tech. And then a little bit more about what we do. Public programs, we're responsible for everything that is free and open to the public. So our festivals, concerts, lectures, we do a little bit of everything. I do want to give a big shout out to Quang as well from Public Poetry to say a few words about this amazing partnership tonight.
Well, thank you very much, Yeiry. I kid you not, I haven't even said anything and someone already gave me flowers. So it's gonna be a beautiful reading. Thank you, dear Caitlin Rizzo. My gratitude, first off, to the staff of the MFAH. And I'm excited to hear my fellow featured readers. There's a lot to say about Hew Locke's exhibition, which you're going to hear from all of us in a bit. So I just wanted to take this time to mention that if you like what you hear, please consider supporting institutions such as the MFAH, such as Public Poetry, that continues to promote the arts during this time in which there are many individuals who would like to strip away funding for the humanities, strip away what it means to be individuals of culture. And so please consider either through monetary donation or tonight, if you tag us in your stories on Instagram and Facebook, it's a way to promote the arts within the community. Again, I'm grateful to you, and shall we begin?
All right. I will do some shameless plugs because, of course, we always have so many things going on here at the museum. This Sunday, we have bilingual Zumba. If you didn't know we did that, we do that. It's on 11 a.m. For free at our Cullen Sculpture Garden. We have two exhibitions on view right now. Directly upstairs, we have the Picasso clay Matisse. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Masterpieces from the Berggruen Museum, coming all the way from Germany. So amazing works, early 20th century pieces. And another special exhibition, you're in it right now, it's Hew Locke, and I will tell you a little bit more about that. We will also have another Writers Remix series on August 14th. It will take place directly upstairs in Berggruen, so that will be another chance to check out that amazing exhibition. We also have July 23rd, we have Loteria Game Night. So that is a really interactive 2 hours, all ages, free gameplay, sponsored by HEB. So you can win some HEB gift cards, some little goodies, and then, so that's always a really good time. I also organize that with my team. And then we also have a lecture on July 16th about what's new in Asian art galleries. It's given by our curator of Asian art, Bradley Bailey, who is electric. And so if you want to check out what's new in that gallery, he will tell you in very much detail. So about what to expect for tonight. So yes.
But you went really fast with some of those.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, July 23rd, it's all on our website, on our calendar as well. So yeah, of course. No, I love the enthusiasm. And so about the series, about what to expect tonight. So the Writers Remix series is an interactive program to experience the museum's collection in a powerful new way through the written word. This series amplifies local, emerging, established, unpublished, published, working writers who are holding it down in the vibrant literary scene here in Houston. This program merges the visual arts with the literary arts in a profound and refreshing way. If you like what you see tonight, again, please let us know, tag us, let me and my team know. Praise the writers with warm applause, laugh when you want to laugh. This is a lively room, so we're here in this together. And there's more, again, coming up August 14th. It's on our website. So let me tell you a little bit about this exhibition in the space that we're in. So Hew Locke reinvents the signs and symbols that define public spaces, from statues to coat of arms, royal insignia, official portraits, monuments, and imperial architecture. He uses photography, drawing, sculpture, and assemblages to explore the histories of colonialism across 5 continents, filtered through present-day realities of global trade, migration, and diaspora. So there are many interactive pieces as well. If you definitely want to check them out, you can. The museum closes at 9 p.m., so there will be plenty of time after the performance to take a look around. So for tonight, I will be introducing each poet, and they'll present. And then, again, make some noise. If you love what you hear, just let them know. And then, yeah, and like I said, the museum closes at 9, so we'll have some time to catch up and get to know each other. So enough about me. Let's get started with our first performer tonight. So a little round of applause for our first performer coming up. Okay. Amazing. So our first performer is Quang Vo Duc. He is a bilingual Vietnamese-American artist and executive director of the Houston nonprofit Public Poetry, supporting established and emerging poets in the literary community. A music contributor to the Vietnamese Alliance of Cultural Artists, VACA, his works have appeared on Diacritics and elsewhere, as well as commissioned for the 2025 exhibition, Space for Us, Afrofuturism and the Poetic Imagination. Give a big round of applause to Quang.
Have I done this before? This seems so familiar. Well, salutations, everyone. Thank you for your lovely presence. It's marvelous to be back at the museum in the role of a poet with my fellow colleagues, Nihal, Chan, and the Detrick Hughes. Again, my gratitude to Yeiry, to Elsa, to Valeria, and the other public program staff members for enduring our artistic temperament. Earlier, I was coming in and someone mistook me for an artwork because of the way I'm dressed. Then again, it's probably because I'm about the same size as some of the artwork. But of course, I'm under a lot of pressure tonight because my friend, the poet Randall James Tyrone, is expecting my reading to be surreal and suave, like a French perfume commercial. So if I start whispering seductively in French, pardon me, je t'aime. But I would like to begin my set with a poem I actually wrote attending a music performance here at the HMFA, a Monet exhibit. And I told myself if I ever get a chance to read this poem at the museum, I'm going to take that opportunity. It only took me 11 years to finally read this poem. You will hear the phrase diurnal prime. Diurnal prime. And that is just my pretentious way of saying early in the morning. Diurnal prime. So if you've been to the museum with a date, or you've gone here looking for a date, or you've been envious of people who have a date, this poem's for you. Caprice in black. Perhaps we'll never ride the heaps of hipsterdom halfway under a worn-out moon 12 zodiacs high. Perhaps I'll never translate the foreign you into goodbyes. Diurnal prime, you trailed the crowded gallery like a curious comet, or the softest notes of Clair de Lune in a dress darker than a habit. I was afraid to disturb the prayers kept in your eyes. Cicada brute shy, we hovered, exchanging embryonic glances first taught when earth rose from the sea. And like short-lived summer dragonflies, we languish close without seeing, sharing an awe-struck sigh, as though listening to Monet bare his thoughts. I've learned to pause after my readings because sometimes audience are like cheering me on and I'm like, okay, next thing. To return to the present exhibition, Hew Locke's passages ask the question, how do people of a nation see themselves in the past, particularly in what they celebrate and what they memorialize? To quote Hew Locke in an interview he did with the Yale Center for British Arts, this exhibition is about power and history and how history affects us today and how we can't escape it. I believe it's pertinent that passages coincide with the anniversary of the United States founding. My parents and I are immigrants. I owe my upbringing, my education, my livelihood to this country. Yet patriotic fervor cannot dismiss the troubled historical legacies and past complexities. In his interview, Locke also talks about the burden of history, how the past is not the past, and the past is still with us. For all of the United States' economic achievements and innovations, there are still those who cannot leave their home for work and return with a guarantee that they will be alive, that they will not be detained. And so as we celebrate the ideals of the founders, we are reminded that there are those with self-interest in domination to threaten unity. And Hew Locke's art is a call not to build further monuments and archways to hubris and pride, because in his words, we cannot escape history. And when history judge this period we're living in, let it remember that we were people with integrity and goodwill who did everything in their capacity to resist divisiveness and mend division. I Too, by Langston Hughes. I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody will say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they will see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America. That was the widely anthologized poem I Too by Langston Hughes, published in his 1926 collection, The Weary Blues, an appropriate poem to tie the American experience to Hew Locke's Guyanese British artworks. When my colleagues and I accepted the invitation to read, I honestly did not know how to proceed with the commission. Fortunately, I was listening to a story by a friend who talked about roaming through the cemetery looking for someone she knew was not there. And it reminded me of Ezekiel's vision in chapter 37 of the Valley of the Dry Bones being spoken back into life. But in my mind, I saw those figures adorned like the statues of the ambassadors you see surrounding you here, which for Locke represents the alternative past and the future of peoples. But I also saw them as the unknown and forgotten workers of exploitative systems, receiving their time and finally being adorned in the light that they deserve. So this is procession. Take back the working body's birth from common graves, up to the mountaintops where flowers fall like morning dew over wilderness. How the wage of empire loosens at the touch. Coin code likeness is worn away, the metals rust, uniforms eaten by moths. All the while, berry talons spring like song-time over marble, granite, and ivory as gold leaf bodies, glory with banners, beads, and feathered crowns. Those dried bleach bones, scored by migrant hours, return to their pigmented skin, their worth sharper than a beaten sword. Haloed ambassadors of the Son of Man coming in yellow sequins and clouds to celebrate and dance before their accusers' faces. Their masters' names, the servants' bones adjacent before the Tabor light, and the separate table where we couldn't stand sits broken on the ground. Thank you. We're very fortunate as artists. We get a peek through the good graces of Yeiry, a peek at the exhibition first. And so as my colleagues and I toured the exhibition, there were many themes that emerged. Similar to Chan, I was also deeply moved by some of the pieces in the back here, some of the boats. But I was also moved by the piece out in the lobby. It's called Survivor, which Locke adorned the sails with fragments of pictures of plantation workers in Jamaica, which is his commentary on migration and workers. For me as a Vietnamese, water and boats are also integral to the narrative of the past 50 years. And so I would like to tie this exhibition in also with my own personal experience. And so I would like to read two parts of a longer work I wrote called Vietnamese in Blue. It was commissioned by the 2023 to 2025 Houston Poet Laureate Eris Keon for her exhibition, Space for Us. I've never read part two before in public because it's deeply personal, but so this might be the only time, so you're all gonna get a treat. But before I read, we're all gonna learn a little Vietnamese. You ready? Okay. You'll hear the term mẹ. It's spelled M-E, like me, with an accent mark, a diacritic, so beneath the E. So the word for mom in Vietnamese looks like the English word for me. So you can imagine the confusion of my 10-year-old self when I was buying carnations in elementary school for my mother, and the teacher read the label aloud as "From Quang to me." This is Vietnamese in Blue, part 2, for my mother and father. If time is anything, it is a simplifier of what I thought I knew. Even the dead are displaced. Faces in faded albums swim ocean links, resurfacing decades later on summer nights. This is how my mother heard her parents' morning calls. They visited her dreams, and now mine. In dreams, I see my grandmother like the day we last caught sight of each other's eyes before an indifferent plane crept off. Can aging memory nourish when all around is life? When the embedded thorn still punctures during family meals, it's not a culture we lose to daily needs, but familiarity. Outside, the sky is still a shade of Vietnamese in blue and envies the homing pigeon who knows uncharted ways, an ache lodged within their bones. Leaping the branch, I embrace the potholed days, daily commute with drivers more automatic than being me. Mẹ ơi, each year I'm more faithless in my words and deeds, yet like sunken boats beneath the sea, my voice still longs in Vietnamese. Even the senseless can taste my jackfruited words, can feel coarse exile wedged inside the heart. This living sun, time did not heal, only transmuted. Thank you. For my last piece, I will share section 3 of Vietnamese in Blue. Once again, you ready for your next Vietnamese lesson? Yay, okay. Don't worry, I'll bill the Department of Education for my time. You'll hear the word am, spelled E-M, am. It's devastatingly simple. But in the context of this poem, it's a term of endearment similar to dear or darling. This is Vietnamese in Blue, part 3. Am I foreign, or is the past foreign to my reach? Each morning I cross this city by way of water, clouds, and sky. You cross life once enough for me. Am I love you vast enough as I-10's lanes to run the barricades on Bellway 8 down Bel Air, where my adolescence rolled like waves. Look, the shuttered nightclubs my father played, the couples drown in bolero beats, pink nights in Saigon's memories. I do not know the Kodak-colored flags, only the lingering hurt in storied eyes. Weekdays in school, I pledge allegiance to the flag, and on weekends, lip sync to a republic which no longer stands. And we've lost much, except each other, except the lozenge words we savor to soothe our throats. And I tell you, being Vietnamese is more than food, than bread, than drink alone, but in the tones and rhythms I press against your lips. Summer in your springtime rain, color me step by endless step. Scented jasmine blossoms, you are my summer by the Gulf. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Oh my gosh, y'all ready for some more? All right, let's keep that energy up. I am thrilled to present our next reader. Detrick Hughes is an American poet, author, spoken word artist, and entrepreneur based in Houston, Texas. Born and raised in Beaumont, Hughes earned a degree in finance from the University of Houston and later completed his master's in fine arts and creative writing from Ashland University. Alongside his creative endeavors, he maintains an extensive professional business career. Over the course of his literary career, Hughes has published several collections of poetry, released 2 spoken word CDs, crafting works that resonate through both written text and live performance. Ooh, okay. A dedicated advocate for the literary arts, he serves as a board president of Public Poetry and previously served as director of the American Root Reading Series. He has also shared his expertise with emerging writers as an adjunct professor, teaching or taught at both Houston City College and Texas Southern University. Today, Hughes channels his extensive experience in editing, curation, book production into the role of co-owner of Pen and Leaf Press, an independent publishing house dedicated to bringing chapbooks and full-length literary works of light. So, welcome to the stage, Detrick.
Glad to see everyone. Let me get this up. There we go. Thank you. So I'm gonna try to stick to my schedule. I looking to read 4 pieces, and if I have enough time, I'll do a spoken word piece at the end. So I don't write pretty poetry, so I won't be as nice as so I apologize to you. And the 4 pieces that I plan to read today are all new. The second piece being about the exhibit on the side. So here goes nothing. First piece is called Native Tongue. What I have become, a bruise, forever. Bits of me not meant to be seen, adapting, conforming, even in blood-soaked defiance. You see, pain mutates. But how many times will you attempt to bind my tongue to linguistic chains and separate my body from the dance? The motion of my bones crashing, speaking like wind chimes in a storm captured on a back porch. Listen to my voice. It pierces all of me. From what was my peasy locks picked, shaped into an afro, a shag, a crop top, cornrows, and now this bald head, to blistered feet, weary of the chase, I sing about it. I rap about it. I hum tunes to the delight of crooked fingers tapping air keys. I run from it. I run to it. Feel the drum beat. It is a keylord where flesh separated to the admiring eyes of blue uniforms. Sometimes I want to be somewhere else screaming. And with me, take the laughter and the teardrops lifted from the Sunday funny pages. My body aches to be loved just because. See, pain speaks. It becomes a head nod, a fist bump. It transforms slurs into greetings. It becomes language. It becomes my native tongue. So the next piece is called How Do You Want Me? And it's about the 4 pieces on the back wall. But it's really about the 11, but only 4 showing here. And I named it How Do You Want Me? The same as the thing, so. Here, oh, and this is about all of us. So I tried to make it. So if I may change words as I go. If I look at your eyes and I see something, I may change stuff as I'm going through this poem. You'll see as I go. So how do you want me? Here in this space occupying, we become myth, adorned in the wares deconstructed by Hew Locke's eye. Breathe. Pearls, flowers, the colors beautiful, vibrant. If not careful, you could ignore the tyrant dressed, disguised in baby parts and weapons. It all glitters to a beguiling tone, so breathe. Blink, and grown men send children to war to carry their bullets in their side and in their flesh. Don't hold your breath, just breathe. I need you everywhere in this collage, this mobile art kinetic, moved by your voice to help carry the story. Breathe. Then maybe good men will join. Stop using our babies for shields. So this next piece has a Greek title, but it's translated to April 19th. And I woke up one morning with my life in my hand. I'm gonna say it that way because I felt my mortality. So, and so this was most of it about. So it's like, April 19th. I am dying, and I hear their laughter again. The gods who have been lurking, consuming the background as cover. Together, we notice the sun rising, my body failing ironically on a Sabbath without the funnies to ease the angst this day given. He has always brushed against the gods, but never clashing, for that which is unexplained has been and will always be. I give my body back slowly with the earth I stole, owing nothing while owning nothing but the peace death will keep. So I think I'm making good time. So I have this thing where I will stop and converse with homeless people, the unhoused. And this, the one I'm gonna read about is a guy I met named Vince, and the title is Vince Valiant. I waited for him to transform as if he was a champion, the comic book hero sprinting through frames to vacant alleys and that myth. Every time Vince greeted me, smile cloaked about his face, he offered the sharp end of blades, a hatchet once, a shiv multiple times, quietly latched to flanges and to brutal hours. He was always prepared to split me before finding us friends. But tomorrow could write Yahoo lines, U.S. Daily Beast homeless man injures patron at storage facility. As we greet the storyline on Black Twitter, but Valiant, his was a face like mine. So it was easy to steal Valiant's words, to repeat them to each other, peace, brother, and bless you, always jumbled in a mumbled mess. Then falling into an echo, I could glimpse his cape. It was always fellowship. Oh, okay. So I was worried about that because those are all new pieces and trying to make them into a collection. We'll see what happens, even offer that into it. But I'll give you something that I usually read called Mona Lisa, and it's about losing somebody. And my disdain is not to her, but it's more to the people who watched her fail. And so as a thing to watching people. Mona Lisa, men have named you. A junked out queen dares to scream, her life flickers away, she remembers. Pelling her bones for little vials of white snow and a bed, I say a bed of dirty brown lace leaves. She spent the last 5 years at the end of a needle, chained, I say she was chained to the misfortunes of choice. The tracks of her trade line her arm, they were a roadmap to her own private hell, and her eyes could only witness. At 17, she took a puff of that very first joint. Now at 23, she lies awake cold in 80-degree weather, looking for a fix, a little something to ease the pain, to get her through the next hour. But it has never been, and it would never be enough. Her eyes are covered in tears, and that once precious smile is wrapped in grief. Quietly, oh so quietly, she screams. And for the very last time, closes her eyes. 10,000 miles across the sea, 2 blocks up the street, 7 feet down the house, somebody hears her. She permeates your mind and she invades your soul. She's your mother. She's your sister. She's your daughter. She's your friend. She's something to somebody. But we all pretend not to hear her. Mona Lisa, men have loved you. Thank you.
Incredible. Thank you so much. We are halfway through. Can y'all believe that? I feel like we just started. All right. It gives me immense pleasure to present our next speaker. Chan Tea is a trans, non-binary, Khmer person and multidisciplinary poet and artist whose work has been featured in publications including Glass Mountain, Sybil, Infrarealista Review, Holy of Holies, and Location Houston. Alongside the poems, Tea's head is filled with pool sequences and chess calculations. Give a warm applause to Chan. Sorry, I'm short. Okay, cool.
I'm not that tall. I think this is fine. Hi, can you hear me? Yes. Good? Great. So I think I want to start, I'll read you 4 poems, and I don't need like any applause like in between. You can save it for afterwards. So I was really into this exhibit, and I think what caught me first was like all the moving parts and all the sculptures, all the paintings. And I particularly gravitated towards the boats. And I started thinking about boats as carriers, as vessels for people, for ideas. And so I'm going to read you a poem about rice and how my mother taught me how to make rice. So Joshua asked me how to prepare jasmine rice. So, in the first cycle, stir a current into water until a rice funnel forms. Make grabs at it. Flowing rice and still rice both resist whitening. Still dense, the rice sinks to the bottom of the vessel. Cup some in hand, and a deep heaviness appears as you grasp it. Cup some still, rice in your palm. Press it. You are softening the body of the rice, allowing softness in your hand as well. And please, try to sigh while you press. It is the time for this. We must be firm in love, Ba says, as if you smothered a thing to cleanse it. Ma would say, bathe rice as if it would break, and it will. Its body so hard, cracking when you begin to wash. The water will cloud like milk. The water will cloud like milk. The vessel needs more water instilled. And so tilt and pour, and remember being careful with things you hold in hand. Use the wet hand that was a fist, now as a cup, to catch any rice falling out with the dirt. You cannot rescue everyone. This does not matter if I'm only trying to tell you about rice and cleaning it. After you pour, you must repeat this for 5 cycles. You must be deliberate, or you may forget how long you have been cleaning and begin to break the rice. You should still eat, though. I only intend for you to live through this rice, and you can eat broken things. If you remember being careful, 2 cups of rice will let you live for a few days. Ma says to me, what else do you want but to eat enough to live? And when starving, you'll eat anything, whenever I complain for lack of meat or about raw bean sprouts. In the camps, Ma says work for a day was worth a bowl of rice the size of a fist. Eat enough to live, her mother would say, passing her day's worth of food into my mother's mouth. After that, sometime, I see Ma cleaning the small back of Ba's mother, a woman she did not love, whom she cannot eat to live, and she still washes. I said no applause, Paul. Okay, y'all can do whatever the fuck you want. You know what? Okay, and so this poem, it's about how that last poem was a lie, actually. And so it's called Rice Again. So the foreword is, in the camps, Mott says work for a day was worth a bowl of rice, the size of a fist. The context is I'm in the car with my dad. I have only written this in here, so it's a little confusing to read. But in my head, the rice in the bowl is a mountain in hand. Mound of little mounds. When I think of the rice, I think of it gathered and not the unit. Like rice is only rice when it's together. I tell Ba about this, that Mott was given this embrace of rice. And he says no to the ghost in my head. It was rice in a bowl flooded with water. Mott tells me, first, they separated husband from wife and children, and then mother from her children, and then the oldest from the youngest. The offering of rice was like this, a family at a distance. I remember you, Mott, silhouette outside my room, the two of us knighted by the shade of those harsh words we gathered together. You're in the cut of the door with an offering of food. I think of the watered rice in the bowl again. I wrote the rice wrong. What now? What does that do to the poem? What does it do to me? I tried to give you rice, but she was given mostly water. The way I tried finding beauty in her war, like an answer there could fix me. What do you learn being fed like that? If you are everything your mother ate, what is made if you eat something like that? Maybe the truth is the unspoken thing from Mott in the doorway. That whether I love you or I do not, when I feed you, I want you to live a little longer for something. Okay, this poem, well, thank you for having me back. So last summer I read for write a remix for Yeiry as well. And there's an Asian arts exhibit, and there's a statue of a Buddhist goddess. And she's actually from Cambodia, which is where my family is from. And so I kind of just sat there with her for a while and talked with her. And so she's kind of splayed like this, like standing. And in one hand, she has a scripture. And the other hand, the placard says that there's a lotus, but it's been lost. And so this is called, Yeiry walks me through the room with all the Buddhas, and I ask her if she knows how they got here, and she says no. And there you are, with the grace of a standing stone, small smile set upon your face, eyes steadied in a soft shut. You look so sure. Did you know you would be safe here? Are you? Brajna Paramita, why are we here in front of each other? Ba came here by boat. You must have crossed as well, maybe crowded on a boat following the one carrying my father. I imagine you are interred here, like Ma once was in a camp before she arrived. Did any of you know what waited on the shore of the next morning? Brajna Paramita, you are our family by law of internment, being encased by the weight of waiting. I waited to find you. And I imagine you waited for me as well. And maybe this is mostly true, that we wait to find a thing that we don't know yet. I remember when I first found you, Cindy and Randy with me. I had left a life behind in San Marcos, scared of the history in my words. I hid in a room until my siblings found me. And then we went and went until we found you, like an overheard word that sounds like our mother, in a grocery store that smells like our kitchen. The finding was enough then. I felt like I was dying back then. And maybe waiting is the same. You stand before me, scripture in a delicate hold in your right. A lotus in your left is lost to the years. I learned lotus live and grow in the flood. They say lotus adapted as such to grow while drowning. I learn as your lost lotus did. You found me like that, dying and looking to find a breath, lost in the flood. And then one day, a lotus floating. If you weren't on the boat next to my father's, I imagine you standing on deck next to my mother, sent away from home by the one responsible for her suffering. Maybe you left your lotus there, your small flower dropped on your way off to offer a lost little girl a hand to hold. And maybe that is why we've come here to meet again, to see my smile in yours, my mother's suffering, to offer you back this lotus I am, to tell you all this. We are refuge to refugee. Not because we are from the same boat, but because we simply are this boat, vessel carrying the same thing, together wading in the waves, carrying ourselves back home or already there. I'm gonna get a drink, one more. Okay, I'm gonna read you one last poem, and this poem is also about how the last poem was a lie. Okay, I wrote it last night for all you. So, okay. Y'all, I just lied. Ma and Pa never left on a boat. Pa and his family fled on an airplane. Ma ran through the jungles with my Yei into camp after camp until finally they boarded a plane as well. What have I done? Where is he? Quang, do you remember walking from Basket Books to Lola's, and we were talking about our new poems? You said you wanted something more centered, like singular, I think. I said, we are the same not because we are from the same boat, but because we simply are this boat. I did not know what the fuck I was saying. You said, we simply are capacity, vessel, holding. I lied to you all when I told you boat, because you saw the body of a boat. But the boat is a word as well, and a word is a capacity, just the same as you and I, a thing for holding. Joshua, do you remember saying, a lie is only a lie until it isn't? Ba, I think you said the same thing. You said, in grievance writing, it isn't about what you say, it's about what you prove. Is it true yet that we're all this boat, capacity for carrying? You know, I started this poem differently before. Now I can tell you. If I am just carrying things, and if energy is neither created nor destroyed, then whose pain is this I'm holding on to? I thought it was Mat's, my mother through war. They say your mother holds you inside of her, through her life, even before you become. Why did you give me this thing? Of course, because we are able to hold heavy things together. It wasn't hers either, given to her to hold as well. My brain shudders to imagine the scope. Fatima, do you remember when the moon was full? I said, I feel like a little kid, and she is my big sister, watching over my back, chuckling at all my mistakes. Like everything I'm holding on to is a small thing. Actually, to her it is. And she's seen it all before. Chan thinks it's the end of the world. She doesn't realize she'll live still. The moon sees everything. If I try to, I lose sight of what is close to me. I know I do. I've abstracted myself into the world and out of my own. Rami, do you remember when I told you about me working for USPS? How I grew up with the post office, my father a carrier, a union steward for his community, 2 lost grievances ever, maybe. Me and Randy editing those grievances as children, knowing about injustice and triumph in the abstract through the contract. And now Mr. Waits comes up to me to shake my hand and call my daddy a great man. And now Miss Abbott told me my daddy trained her to be a steward, carrier for carriers. And now Miss Moore telling me all the trouble my daddy got her out of, and for her to be a steward, fighting now as well. And now for me to start at Royal Station, which as God would have it, is the very same station my daddy started at 40-something years ago, walking after him, same as I always have. How could he have been out there helping the whole damn city of Houston? And I still felt alone sometimes. Rami, you said, you see how that's us? I said, whose pain is this? It's yours. And it was given from and from and from and from because it just needed to be held. And now it's yours. Joshua, do you remember that night? I thought I figured it all out. I said, this universe, all of this, it was one at the start, a point, and it started running away from itself in all the ways. And all those little runaways found each other and made stars and constellations and then died and spread out again to come back together again. The cosmic narrative is one together, then apart, and then they say we're coming back together again. I said, that's why I found you here, because I remembered when we were one. And I said, I can't wait to smoke all the cigarettes I have to so I can die and come back and find you again, and we can have this conversation all over again because I already miss you and I want to come home. And do you remember what you said? Chan, I'm not ready to leave you yet. Thank you.
Incredible. Whew. We are almost towards the end of our presentation, but let me remind you, we will get together again August 14th upstairs for the next iteration of the series. Without further ado, I have the immense joy of presenting our next writer. Nihal Osama is a Sudanese-American writer and educator whose work centers themes of identity, displacement, and Sudanese traditions. Nihal's short fiction, poetry, and creative nonfiction have appeared in Solidago, The Gordian Review, Copper Nickel, Mizna, Arcana, Kafia Review, Midnight and Indigo, and elsewhere. So give a warm welcome to Nihal.
Hello, everyone. Are y'all enjoying these amazing poems? I am personally inspired, grateful to the MFAH and to Public Poetry for giving us this space. So as you have heard in my fellow poets' pieces, Hew Locke's works really have, this themes of colonization, imperialism, enslavement, diaspora, and I was really kind of those things tend to come up in my poetry anyway, but I was reflecting on imperialism especially, and how these days, it hasn't gone away completely. It just masquerades and dresses up as capitalism, as white nationalism, as forced displacement, as ICE agents, as missiles aimed at children. And while poetry and artworks cannot on their own take down imperial forces, but they can name them, and naming things is its own power. So I have a few pieces for you. This first one doesn't have a title, but it will serve as kind of an epigraph for the rest of the pieces to come. So, it is either cruel or necessary that English is not large enough to hold your feelings. When they came to teach your forefathers this language, they forgot to add a warning. They should have said, "You will never have enough words, and neither will your children or their children." It is either cruel or necessary to write in a language that will never give you all the words you want, the sentences you crave. You mourn the sweetness of what is lost. You accept that English is a product of violence, that it will always be harsh. Nothing you say will ever feel completely whole or soft. Your words will always have a jagged edge, like a tooth that has just been sanded badly after a filling. Your tongue will find the sharpness every time. Your tongue will not know how to settle. Thank you. So this next poem is after the portrait of Queen Elizabeth behind you. It's called Koh-i-Noor. Hew Locke named it that, so I also named this poem Koh-i-Noor. Koh-i-Noor is one of the world's largest cut diamonds, and it was in the possession of various Sikh, Mughal, Persian rulers until it was ceded to Queen Victoria, and we all know what ceded means. Stolen. By Queen Victoria. All right. The Queen's head is plastic, her face adorned by a halo of flower buds and baby doll heads. Chain necklaces dangle from her torso, toy daggers protrude from her neck. She wears a cheap costume of discarded items, her hair a crown of twisting vines. Ladybugs scuttle across her eyes, feasting. All right, thank you. This next poem is after the How Do You Want Me series. And the artist, they're basically all for the artist showing his own image, their self-portraits. So this is also a self-portrait titled Self-Portrait as Colonizer. I was not born with a crown, but I can make it fit. My hands can bear the weight of stolen gold, even as I wield a sword. We all have the potential to pillage, to take what isn't ours, to chew the bones from game we hunt on land we happen to find. I can sit on a throne and pose, role play importance, while pretty words spill from my lips. Watch me smile as the world burns. Watch me gnash my teeth against fleshy mango and let it drip. I can be soft like petals or sharp like daggers. I can sit with dignity while everything around me bleeds. Where is the challenge in playing prim and proper or feasting while children starve? How do you want me? Where should I look? Make sure I come out soulless. Make sure my teeth are clean. This next poem is inspired by the boats or the ships on the other side of the wall. And it's an ekphrasis, which is just a piece of art responding to another piece of art. The ship's mast is a bright turquoise, torn but not falling apart. Suspended in air, it speaks of many histories. How much can a vessel carry? Consider the weight of all that has come before and what comes after. All ships are heavy with stories. Their decks swell with memory. The wood rots and bends from carrying what it shouldn't. The ship hangs in midair, but the chains are there, implied and invisible. They keep it from sailing into the sky. My people are forced from their homes. They sail across the Red Sea, afraid of the water, but afraid of dying more. This is not the distant past. This is 4 years ago. They take up shelter in places that do not want them and stomach being called refugees. Another ship is shrouded in white to function as transport or burial ground. Is it the vessel or the water that kills us first? Which death is more merciful? What waits on the other side of arrival? Nolan Wells dies in Mississippi after getting on a boat with boys who would end up going home without him. This is not the distant past. This is 5 days ago. What kills us first? Is it the vessel or the water or the people we were wrong to trust? The artist asks, what is the burden of history? The burden of history is that for us, it is also always the present. So that's it for the poems responding directly to the art. And then I have 2 poems that also have themes of diaspora, of displacement. If you don't know, I'm from Sudan. Sudan has been going through a civil war, which is not really a civil war, but it's easier to name it that. And like I implied in one of the pieces, my family has been displaced to different countries because of that violence. So these last 2 poems are about that. Healing Circle. Nothing brings us together like genocide. I cry with strangers on a Zoom call. Our grief is collective and also invisible. We wonder why no one cares about our people. We concede that we can't force them to. This keeps happening. We have gone too many rounds. We have seen too much. The therapists on the call urge us to name our feelings. We do a breathing exercise, but I have been congested for days now. My lungs do not expand. I turn off my camera to cry alone. Everyone carries the same feelings. It's okay to sit with silence, the therapist says. It's okay to be still. Someone reminds us that hope is a discipline. I say we need to do the work despite everything. It is not a condition to witness a tree grow in order to plant the seed. There is so much violence, but we are relentless. The therapist asks, what makes you feel empowered? I walk into every room and bring up Sudan, someone says. I want people to be aware of their indifference. At the end, we do the grounding exercise again. This time, I am able to take deeper breaths. I exhale the full 7 seconds and feel human again. All right, final poem. This one's called Record of Death. There is no meaning left. Grief manifests as anger, as betrayal, as survivor's guilt. We grieve because we are able to grieve. We grieve because we must go on living. We must smile at one another and go to our jobs and care for our families. We must do this even though we feel there is no point. We must do this precisely because we feel there is no point. What is it about October that incites violence? The heart breaks for the 10th or 30th or 100th time. In Al-Fashir, a woman kneels in front of her daughter who has died from starvation. An old man begs for his life, makes a prayer for the devil who believes he has a right to take it. The devil kills him anyway. A group of men is lined up and executed. A woman is left to swing from a tree. What is it about Sudan that invites silence? They send drones, airstrikes in Kurdufan, drone strikes in Merowi. What are they striking? There is no one left. The soil is steeped in blood. It is seen from space. The doctors report that bodies are piled up inside homes. This is a collective eradication. The devils say with ugly, wide sneers. They broadcast their killing. They want the world to see. The world does not care because the bodies are black. The bodies are Sudanese. We become historians. We document our own destruction. Grief is a raging inferno, but we are still here. There must still be meaning. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Nihal. And that wraps up tonight's edition of Writers Remix. Give yourselves a round of applause. You could be anywhere and you are here. So thank you so much for coming. Like I mentioned before, we have a lot more going on. Feel free to check out our website, tag us in tonight's whatever social capture that you may have had. Museum closes at 9, so feel free to walk around, look at all the works, and talk to each other. So have a good night. Thank you so much for everything.